What's good, people? I'm back again. It's Saturday afternoon, and I got my sidekick hanging with me, hanging tight. TK, we're getting down to the last conference championship pick'em show,
Yep,
and we're gonna talk about that. TK, you good? You good today, man?
absolutely, man. Glad to be back for another one. Let's do it.
All right. So what we're gonna kind of we're gonna review the divisional round games, which were some great games. All of the games went down to all of them except one went down to like a one score game, and they were very competitive. Four well played games, and we're going to kind of talk about them. And then we're going to go right into our conference championship, our analysis, and then we're going to make our picks, and then we're going to see how that go. So without any further preliminaries, y'all hang tight. TK, Uncle Fred, Pick'em Show. Let's get it.
Two times on.
Once again, it's your boy Uncle Fred and TK back one more again. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. All right, man. This thing's it's winding down, man, to the end. We're getting to the end of the NFL season. We got 2 weeks of pick'ems left this week and 2 weeks from today, and it's over. It'll be all over. So we're gonna pick our conference championship games today, but we're gonna talk about the wonderful games we had last Saturday and last Sunday, man. And like I said, man, I thought those games were well played. I thought it really showed, um, how competitive the league is, and especially once you get to the past the wild card round, it's sort of like it sort of thins out the pretenders. You get down to who really are like the best four teams in the NFL. That's what you're down to, and I think it kind of showed. So we'll just kind of look at these couple of games here, these four games. The game started off Saturday afternoon with the Houston Texans traveling to I think it's TIA Bank Field. Is that what it's called?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's what that's called.
I just know
To play
uh,
yeah, to play the Baltimore Ravens. And Houston's coming off that stunning 44-10 beat down to the Cleveland Browns, and it's like they one of those young teams that really didn't, they young, don't know what they don't know that they supposed to be nervous, don't know they're supposed to be apprehensive. No, we here, we finna let it all fly until they got to Baltimore. And my impressions of that game was that I thought for the first half it was well played. I feel like that game was, like I said, it was like for Baltimore. I feel like it was a feeling out process. You got to factor in it's been 2 weeks since they played, so your timing ain't there, your rhythm's a little off. Some of you're not hitting all your strides. You're not, and so they was kind of like trying to find their way. And Houston was kind of, they were doing a little something here or there, but they really weren't. They really couldn't get any offense going. But they exchanged field goals, and then Baltimore got a drive together, culminated with Lamar Jackson. Well, actually, no, I think it was Nelson Aguilar catching his first NFL playoff touchdown, because he's been in a lot of places. Been to Philly, been to the Raiders, been to the Patriots. Now he finds himself in Baltimore, gets him a touchdown. It's 10-3. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a Baltimore fixing to flex their muscles. And then they kicked it off. And then Mr. What's this guy's name? Mr.
Damian Pierce.
Yeah. Ran the kickoff back 67 yards, tied it up at 10. So I'm like, okay, now that's 10-10 at halftime now. And then from what I understand, from what I understand, Steven Sims, that's his name, Steven Sims. From what I understand, Lamar went into halftime and was cussing folks out, getting folks together. It's like, look, man, I can't lose no playoff game, man. I got stuff on the line here. We Baltimore. We got the number one seed for a reason. We can't be in here playing around. So second half, they came out. They played like they were the number one seed, and in my opinion, the best team in the NFL right now. If you look at them from top to bottom, and I believe they went right down, and Lamar got him a touchdown running. And then he came down and he hit Isaiah Likely on a 15-yard touchdown. They ended up kicking a field goal, and they got another touchdown. They kicked a field goal. They pretty much scored on four of their 5 possessions in the second half, and really flexed their muscles and let it be known that they are, to be reckoned with. And look, Houston had a great season. Okay, nobody was looking for them to be even in the playoffs, let alone being there in the second round. Okay, they won 4 games last year. Credit to D'Amico Ryans, credit to C.J. Stroud. Credit to Will Anderson Jr. and all the players, Bobby Slowick, all those guys. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come, because I think, and from the looks of it, Bobby Slowick didn't get one of these head coaching jobs, but he's going to be right back there with CJ. And so I look for them to make some improvements, get a couple more draft picks, maybe get a free agent or two. They're going to be right back in there. But for today, Baltimore flex their muscles on them second half, and they move on. And showed you why they are the team to be reckoned with, and are my odds-on favorite to get to the Super Bowl. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But that was my impressions. It was early. It was close early. Houston was kind of hanging around. Second half, Baltimore put their foot down and pulled on away from them, and that's kind of the way I saw it.
Yeah, I think Baltimore settled in, right? So to your elaborate points, they just needed to settle in. Took a half to get it done, but once they locked in, man, it turned into the type of game I kind of foresaw initially. So again, shout out to everybody you mentioned, the whole organization over there. They got a good thing going, and a lot more success to come. Because one thing they know, they can hang their hat on in Houston. They've unearthed a new gem. So getting a true stalwart franchise level quarterback, one of the most important things in the NFL today. So they can say they have one. Many people can't say that. So they're in a good spot there. They're in a good spot.
Right.
I think D'Amico Ryans should definitely win Coach of the Year, get that accolade under his belt, or at least be given strong consideration. And all respect to what they're doing there, man. But Baltimore is, to me, the best team up, top to bottom, up and down in the league. So them taking care of business at home just didn't really come as a surprise to me. Yeah, they got quite an assignment tomorrow. So beating Houston was just a necessary thing to get there. So there you go.
Right. That's correct. Just some particulars. Correction. It's called M&T Bank Stadium. So that's a correction on that.
Right.
Tail of the tape. Baltimore ended up with 352 yards of total offense. 230 yards running the ball.
Mm.
Let me let me say this, and we're gonna move on to our next game. They Lamar Jackson proved in that game why he's the MVP front runner, why he should be. I mean, because like I said, first half he kind of feeling it out. You know, some of his throws a little off. You know, he had a couple of nice runs in the second half. He had several of them in the second half, but he was 16 of 22 for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns throwing it, one to Aguilar, one to Likely. But he also had 11 carries for 100 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. So he was responsible for all four touchdowns that they scored. And he was just masterful in that second half, man. I mean, anything that Houston tried to come with, he had an answer for it. Whatever they came with, because it used to be if you blitzed him, he would fold up. No, you can't just do that to him now. You know, and I love it when guys, there's a way that you can beat them, and they go to the lab and they work on their craft, and now you can't beat them with that. You got to come with a C or a D game to get them now. You can't just come with what you could come with them 2 years ago to get them. So that's why he's the MVP. So yeah, he did all those things. Zay Flowers, 4 catches, 44 yards. He had some nice third down conversion catches. So did Isaiah Likely. Hey man, Baltimore is going to be the team to beat, man. So we're going to see what happens with them tomorrow. But anyway, Baltimore wins 34-10, and they move on to the AFC Championship game, which will be tomorrow. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So Baltimore wins, and they move on. The evening game on Saturday was a more competitive game, and I would dare say probably the most competitive game of the weekend. You got Green Bay Packers traveling to Levi Stadium to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And I was watching this game with a keen eye, TK, because we know, it don't need to be rehashed, but I'm going to rehash it because how my bread is buttered. You see what my studio is littered with. So I wanted to see what I was curious to see
Mm.
is that how they dispatched my team 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
I was wanting to see, could they replicate that same energy, that same execution, against the 49ers, who, if you hear all the other prognosticators say, it's the best team in the NFC, arguably the best team in the NFL. Let's see how they do against them. Okay. And they came and they attempted to punch them right in the mouth like they said they was going to do us. They went on a 15-play, like 65-yard drive, went right down the field, third downs, knocking them down. Aaron Jones running it down their throats. And they got down to like the 6-yard line, and he just missed a touchdown pass to, I want to say it was Javon Reed, knocked away by Tre'Davious Ward, and that settled for a field goal. Stopped the 49ers, got the ball back, was driving down the field again, doing the same thing again. Got to a 4th down and 1 at like the 20, 15, 20-yard line. They ran the third down play with Aaron Jones, and I thought, and this is what I saw. And I was doing something. I was getting something off the table or whatever, and I saw them run the play, and I said, "Ooh, Aaron Jones a little short." And I went to get something off the table, and when I got back to my seat, I saw the referees measuring. I'm like, what they're measuring for? I said, I saw Aaron Jones was about a full yard short. I didn't realize they had already ran a quarterback sneak. They ran a quarterback sneak quicker than I could get up and go right over here and grab my thing and come back to sit down. And when they showed the replay, I was like, oh, I didn't know they ran a quarterback sneak, and they got stuffed. and I was like, man, I think they should have took their time and got a good play on that, because I feel like had they scored on that drive, even if it was another field goal, but I'm thinking they was going for a touchdown. Had they went up 10-0, I think it would have set off some chain reactions with the 49ers. But instead, 49ers got to stop, and I kind of felt it within myself, and I said, watch the 49ers go right down and get a field goal or get something, because I felt like that changed the momentum of the game, because it's sort of like the 49ers was probably like, we're like, all right, let's do something now, because a couple of times they'd had the ball, they couldn't move it, okay? But having gotten a stop, I felt like they felt like, okay, we got that monkey off our back now, so let's go ahead and do that. And they went on like a 12-play, 86-yard drive, and it culminated with a 32-yard touchdown pass to Kittle, and 32-yard touchdown pass to Kittle. And I was like, okay, that kind of got it right. But then the Packers came right back down, and just to show you, like, no, we're here, and we're here for the long haul. We're right back down. Drive stall. They kicked the field goal, made it 7-6, and it was 7-6 at halftime because the 49ers got their kick blocked. It would have been 10-6. Second half, it was a back and forth. You know, and I liked how the Packers was like, no, I know we 10-point underdogs, but we here. And they went down. They scored a touchdown. It's 13-7. And, but the 49ers, being the team that they are, came right back with a touchdown run to Christian McCaffrey of I believe it was I want to say it was like a 24-yard touchdown run, 39-yard touchdown run. I'm sorry. And they go up 14-13. But the Packers was game all night, and they came down and they got a touchdown of their own. They went for two, got their 2-point conversion, and it went up 7 and stopped the 49ers. And I felt like had they scored, they could have put their foot in their back parts, man. But Jordan Love threw a tipped interception. And the 49ers came, got a field goal, cut it to 4. And I thought that the Packers could have taken or at least put them up by 7. But we done seen this whole weekend where kickers, Andreas Carlson missed a 45-yard field goal, and it leaves it at 4 points with about 4 minutes to go, and it left just enough time for Brock Purdy to come down and got the winning touchdown. Now, there was a lot of missed plays in this game. Darnell Savage missed a pick. I want to say the kid Mixon missed a pick. They could have turned the game around. Interceptions was in their hands, but they didn't make the plays, and the 49ers did. And now, when the Packers had an opportunity with a minute and some change left, down 3, all it needed was a field goal. Jordan Love kind of proved this is his first run in the playoffs. Rolled left on first down, had 2 timeouts, a minute and 7 seconds left. Threw it into triple coverage in the middle of the field, intercepted by Dre Greenlaw, and that was the ball game. So the 49ers escaped, but the Packers had nothing to be ashamed of, because they came and they played and they gave them everything they had, and really had a few bounces went their way. They probably could have came up with the win, but the 49ers move on, and they find themselves in the NFC Championship game, where everybody kind of had them at the beginning of the season, and they make their date at Levi Stadium this coming Sunday, dispatching the Green Bay Packers 24-21, and they move on. Packers go home. Good game, though. Very good game. Very entertaining game. Well played, executed game. Let you know that Matt LaFleur is a he's off that Shanahan tree also. They really didn't have no answers for him. They pretty much almost scored almost every time they had the football when they weren't turning it over, the 2 turnovers they had or whatever. So, but the 49ers move on. How did you see it, TK?
Um, I think the Niners. I think the Niners could easily win the Super Bowl in what 3 weeks, or and I agree, long time Niner fan. It was a great game. Uh, Beginning to end, I was on the edge of my seat because the Niners are such an interesting team because they sort of teeter with dominance and you know Jekyll Hyde complex a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like they've had their times where they look very beatable, and then they
Mm-hmm.
have their times where they just roll over
Flex
to
their
you.
muscles. Yeah,
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 they just
yeah.
have the capability to do both, and it's like
Right,
that's a team where it's like, okay, had they come in at home and rolled over the Packers, I wouldn't be surprised.
right,
I find
right,
myself watching the game as it becomes apparent that they got themselves a double.
yeah.
Like I'm not gonna pinpoint exactly when it was, but it was later in the game, and I'm watching it. It's like that's when it for the first time throughout three and a half quarters really. Where it's like I really felt like the Niners are gonna lose this game. It's on the
Right,
table.
right, right. I felt the same way. I felt the
You know,
same way.
it's like oof, knowing the true capability and capacity that they have to win games. It's like you just never think, lose to the Packers. That's not the team that's going to beat them.
Right.
So ultimately they got it done, and they moved forward. But man, I'll say they did show. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to create sound bites and stuff. It's just yeah, it's not that. It's just they showed that I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit had a little success tomorrow. Not to say I think Detroit would win or even could win. It's just I'm not going to be surprised if they're able to move the ball and find some success. So um, in that vein, man, I love what the Niners are about. You know that. I love their style of play, creative play calling.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the most exciting players in the league in the backfield with C-Mac. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Debo's a freight train, and Kittle is all world. So um, on the surface, generically, they're just an easy team to root for if you just like football, like me. So um, I don't think if they end up playing 2 more times this season, and they're guaranteed one, so if they end up playing 2 more times this season, I don't think they're gonna look like how they looked last weekend again this year. So I'll say that.
Okay. Good observation. Good, very good analysis there, TK. Very good analysis. Uh, Final points on this game in that, and there's some just some stats. If anybody did a stat heads, Green Bay had 330 yards, San Francisco 356. They both were able to run the ball. Aaron Jones ran the ball for had 100 and I think 108 yards. I think Um, yeah, 108 yards on 18 carries. Had a dazzling like 56-yard run. I think going towards the third quarter, going to the fourth quarter, right near off of his goal line, and got it to inside the Niners like 45-yard line. It was just a dazzling run, man. Aaron Jones is still one of them dudes, man. Um, but the one observation I did get from the game is that the Packers weren't intimidated by them at all. They weren't like, oh man, they the big bad 49ers. They 13-4 or whatever they were, and we were the last team to get in the playoff. No, they were like, no, you put your pants on one leg at a time, just like we do, and we here, and I think some of that is due to the familiarity with the two coaching staffs, which, like I said, Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan. Well, those who don't know, were on the same coaching staff in a couple of different stops when they were both under what the Commanders coaching staff under. I want to say it wasn't John Gruden. It was his brother. I can't think of his name. Is it Jay Gruden? They were all on that staff. Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, McDaniel, all them guys. That's a lot of brain power on that daggum coaching staff. Why couldn't they win? And then when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl in 2016, all of them guys was on that staff. All of those guys were on that staff. So they got a familiarity. There's a style of play that they have, and I might want to even say Bobby Slowick might have been on there, but I know he did some work at Pro Football Focus, so I don't know if he was on those staffs, but he's been on staffs with them before. There's a style of play that the Shanahan tree plays with. It involves bunch formations and motion and all this, and all these other misdirection actions and stuff like that. Stuff that's very hard it makes it hard on defenders to defend that, right? And so Matt LaFleur comes in this game. Hey, we do that same stuff. We work that same stuff. So we're not intimidated by that. So that's what I came away with when they went into that game. We're not intimidated. And what was odd about this game is just 2 years ago, these same two teams met in this same round of the playoffs, but the positions were exactly the opposite. Green Bay was the number one seed in the NFC, and the 49ers were the last team to get into the playoffs, and they came in and they upset them. I think it was like 13-10, if I'm not mistaken, in overtime. And so I thought that the Packers would turn the favor around and do the same thing. Come into their building in their elements, because it was raining cats and dogs the whole time, and still won. But the 49ers, Brock Purdy I thought he was kind of shook up for 2/3 of the game, and I thought like when the fourth quarter came around, he settled down, made his reads, made his throws, and they came away with the win. So the 49ers in the NFC Championship game where we all had them being. And Green Bay Packers, look, man, I think they're going to be a fixture, just like we was talking about Houston a while ago. I think Matt LaFleur has a young quarterback that's got an arm that he can put the ball any way he wants to. I think they got a running game. I think they got a up-and-coming offensive line, and they got young receivers for days that are just going to grow together. So don't be surprised if they're, 11, 10, 11, 12 games won next year, and they're right back in here. Do not be surprised by that, okay? Because I think they're going to be here, and they're going to be a fixture. When you got a young team that's just young and they're growing together, they, they're just going to grow at the same time, and that's it's sort of scary actually when they're young at the same time like that. Longtime Niner fan says it was the best game of the weekend. Yeah, I think it was the best game of the weekend. When you're talking about how competitive it was and how well coached it was, okay? Because people don't look at that and the execution of it, It was a well played game, and easily it was the best game of the weekend, I thought. So
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
No. To the point in the chat, the rust factor definitely played his part, and I agree. You know, seeing the start for both of those teams makes me more confident about their projected performance tomorrow because okay, you got that under your belt, had a rough half, and it's out the way, and you survived it. So the true potential or capacity of those teams will shine tomorrow. So I agree with that point about it. That's what I saw.
Yeah. He's long time Niner fan was talking about the rust versus rest. There's always been that, and I think it depends on the team. It depends on the maturity of the team, and I think it also depends on the style of play that you play too. Because some styles of play that you play, I think if you get out of rhythm, because pro football players, they'll tell you if you hear them when they talk, they got routines that they have. It's like I do this at this time. I do this at this time. I eat at this time. I get my nap at this time. I take my treatment this time or whatever. Anytime you alter their what do you want to call it, their routine, you sometimes you don't know what you get what come game day. So that's why a lot of coaches will opt not to rest them and let them play them, or maybe play them some and get them out the game or something, so that they keep their routines intact and stuff like that. So it's always a thing with that. But they both had their buys and they both had their struggles early. But they both proved I still think those are the two best teams in the NFL, and probably we'll be seeing them in a couple of weeks. But I'm not getting ahead of myself. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me see here. All right. I think that was the last comment there. All right. So, all right. All right. So let's go to this. Let's go to this first game on Sunday. Now, a lot of people, man, not was thinking this was going to be a good game. It ended up being a great game also. The Buccaneers at the Lions. Uh, the Sunday afternoon game. Many people kind of maybe felt like that the Lions would wipe the floor with them. I'll be one of them. I think TK had to take care of something here, but I'm gonna cook while he okay. I'm one of those people, and because I kind of felt like Tampa Bay really the only reason I kind of felt the only reason Tampa Bay was even in this game is because they happened to play a team that was imploding in the Eagles. But they kind of proved me wrong Sunday because they came in. They played well too, and considering nobody. I'm liking them almost like I liken the Houston Texans. Nobody had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a playoff team coming into the season. And I'm gonna tell you what a lot of people thought. They're gonna win about 5-6 games, and Todd Bowles are gonna get fired. Okay, that's what people were thinking. I was thinking that because I'm like, okay, you got Baker Mayfield, and I mean, I know there's some veterans on the team and stuff like that, but I was like, I just can't see because I kind of felt like the Saints and the Falcons would assert themselves and be better than them, and they just hung in there, won games early, kind of kept it, and then won some games late and was able to secure that playoff spot. So, but in this game, I thought, oh yeah, Detroit's going to go in there. They got the monkey off their back. They haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. Yeah, they got that. So now they finna flex their muscles on them. But shouts out to Todd Bowles. What is his name? Dave. What is his name? The Canellis, who is the offensive coordinator, calling a brilliant game, having Baker Mayfield in good positions. I think he threw for like 349 yards and 3 touchdowns. When they couldn't, they was going to Cade Otton because the Detroit Lions knew we got to stop Mike Evans, so they was bracketing him. But when they weren't bracketing him, Mike Evans was cooking Cam Sutton. He was cooking him. Cooking him like a turkey, man. He was cooking him, man. Every time they got him singled up, and sometimes you can do that with formations and motion and stuff. You can get a guy singled up. Anytime he's seen 13 lined up on number 1 on Detroit, cooked every single time to the tune of 8 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, Mike Evans still one of them dudes, man. Don't let how the season kind of went get you off track. Mike Evans still one of them dudes. He's still one of them dudes. He's still a primo wide receiver that anybody, I'd like to have him down in Dallas, but he probably can't afford it. Yeah, he's one of them dudes. He's one of them dudes. And they were able to find him on several occasions. And like I said, when they didn't have him, that tight end, number 88, Cade Otton, was making some nice catches. I had never even heard of him. And I'm like, dude, that dude kind of nice. And he made some nice catches, caught a nice touchdown pass late in the third quarter, tied it up at 17. But the resolve that Detroit had after they tied it up, Detroit came down, went on a 12-play, 75-yard drive, culminated with this off-tackle run by Jahmyr Gibbs, whereas as the announcers like to say, he put his foot in the ground and hit that second gear. And even though Antoine Winfield was coming for him, he like, you ain't got this kind of speed, Chief. And he beat him to the pylon, kind of finished off a little stiff arm. And I was like, that's why that dude is that dude. That's why they got that guy. Put his foot in the ground, unleashed that 4.3 speed that he got, and got that touchdown. He ended up with 9 carries for 74 yards and also had 4 catches for 40 yards. So he had over 100 yards of total offense. And then they stopped Tampa Bay. They get the ball back and they go on an 89-yard drive. There was a 3rd and 15 that they converted after Baker Mayfield after Jared Goff had gotten sacked, and Amon-Ra St. Brown caught a 16-yarder, in traffic, tough contested catch, which that's what I was telling you all week. That dude has, catches all the tough contested catches. I can say, you can tell the cornerback where he's going, but he coming away with it. And 3rd and 15, I thought they was coming off the field, and St. Brown said, nah. And then he finished it off with a 14-yard touchdown pass that pretty much put the game away. Now, Tampa Bay came down and scored later in the game. I think it was Mike Evans scored. And they went for 2, which I kind of don't understand that, because I guess if you'd gotten it, then you could have won it with a touchdown. But then if you don't get it, now you got to get a touchdown and get a field goal just to tie the game. So sometimes I don't understand the modern analytics and stuff, whatever. But, that's what they decided to do. So they went for 2, didn't get it. They went over to a fade route to Mike Evans that was covered up. And it really wasn't a good play to be executed. And so it was an 8-point deficit. Detroit got a couple of first downs, but they, got their drive stalled. Tampa Bay had one last shot with about 2 minutes to go. And just like the Green Bay game, Baker Mayfield went over the middle of the field late, and a linebacker picked him off. Derek Barnes, I think is his name, intercepted him. And propelled Detroit to go on to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 1991. Detroit's in the NFC Championship game. And Jared Goff, had a good game. He was 30 of 43 for 287 and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Jahmyr Gibbs, as I said, I gave you his stat line. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 8 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. And they just did the thing. Those 2 drives after the game was tied, the 75-yard drive and the 89-yard drive, really showed Detroit's resolve. And that was the way to respond, because they could have folded right there, and Tampa Bay was gaining momentum, and they was able to put that right back in the. We here. You're not coming in our house and getting this from us. So Detroit moves on. So what were your impressions of that game, TK?
You put a button on it pretty well. I see a lot of Mike Evans love in there. Yeah,
Oh yeah, love Mike Evans, man.
for sure. I agree. Um, I thought it would be uh, that type of game in terms of a lot of guys get their hands on a touchdown. It'll be a little high scoring, exciting. So a Florida team coming up to Detroit and not having to play in the elements. I know that
Yeah,
made the news with somebody asking that question, but yeah, just being able to play in a dome to me signaled this will be a pretty good game. Both teams should be able to move the ball, and they did. And because of that, I like the result. I like the way the game was played. Kind of went how I expected it to. And
yeah,
unfortunately, also means I saw Baker, making a mistake, man, before the game. So that didn't shock me, to be honest. Um, but offensive coordinator got him a job out of it. Mike Evans,
yes, yes,
yeah. Mike Evans he'll be paid by somebody if it's not the
yeah,
Bucks. Um,
right,
I think they still got a decent foundation to build on as an organization down there. We'll see if Baker Mayfield's involved in that going forward. But hey, Ty Bowles, congratulations to you, man, for coming out, exceeding expectations, and keeping that team. Keeping them locked in, keeping them focused, and not treating the season like a throwaway season. They came out and competed and did enough to win the division. And
right, right.
yeah, I think they should be pretty excited within that organization for how everything turned out. As for Detroit, hey man, Ford Field rocking, Detroit City of Detroit rocking. Hey,
Detroit Rock City, baby. Detroit Rock
yeah,
City, man. Yeah,
they deserve it, man. I love it. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Love to see good things happen for them. It's been a while, a long
It's
while.
been a while. It's been a while. It's hard not to pull for Detroit, man. It's hard, man, because you know what that city has been through, what that team has went through. They've been to the doldrums. Because I was making a comment to one of our coworkers yesterday. I said, Detroit's been at the bottom of the barrel twice in the past 15 years. They had an over season in 2008,
Mm,
which allowed them to get Matt Stafford. Okay. And then just a couple of years ago, they had the number 2 pick in the draft. So, they don't give number 2 picks to good teams unless
yeah,
you have made a trade with somebody. You get the number 2 pick, you weren't a good team, right?
yeah.
And that's what allowed them to get Aiden Hutchinson,
Mm,
who that's a bad man too. He made himself well acquainted with Baker Mayfield on Sunday. He got to smell Aiden Hutchinson's cologne. Um,
yeah, absolutely. Uh,
but
I'll
yeah,
say,
but go ahead, go ahead.
no. I'll save the superlatives because they're still playing. They're still active for tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I just think Detroit, man, that collection of talent they have, oh man, they
yeah.
got a good thing going in Detroit, man. Not only now, but for years to come. So I got this suspicion, man, for Field that we get some more playoff games in the coming years. So
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, man, shout out to Detroit, but hands full tomorrow. Got a lot on your plate tomorrow, but so far so good.
So when you look at them, they got a solid quarterback in Jared Goff. Like he's not like some superstar quarterback, but he's good enough to get the job done. Don't make a
Absolutely.
lot of mistakes, make some good throws, make some good decisions. You can win with him. He's a good quarterback. They have I think they're a top 2, top 3 offensive line. When you're talking about Penei Sewell, you're talking about Dave Ragnall, the center,
Mhm.
probably the second or third best center in the game. He had to go up against Vita Vey. And that you go up against Vita Vey, that's that ask Jason Kelsey about Vita Vey. That dude, he brings it. So they got a good offensive line. They got two good running backs. And they did it right. You got the old veteran that still got a lot left, and you got the young buck. You got an array of wide receivers. They still ain't untapped how much Jamison Williams can do. With the speed, and he's still recovering. He's still doing all the stuff he's supposed to be doing, but he's not even scratched the surface of how good he's going to be for them. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, y'all know how I feel about St. Brown. And they now the only thing that's maybe just a little bit of sprinkles in this sunshine is y'all might be losing y'all offensive coordinator. I think he's going to be in. I think he's going to be in the DMV, but that's just me. That's just because you got a top notch play caller that understands the flow of the game, understands how to play the modern game. We're not playing I formation 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He plays the entire field. When it's time to get the tight end involved, Sam Laporta's getting the ball. When it's time to get St. Brown the ball, he's getting. And then when it's time to get the running backs involved, he seems to push the right buttons at the right time. And that's the art of a play caller, calling the right play for the right situations at the right time and getting results. And Detroit's been doing it. They've been doing it all season. So I'm not surprised. RP my Detroit friend, the Sandman, who didn't live to see. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Crypt Keeper. Yeah, a lot of Detroit fans is like some of these other teams that where they've not had a lot of success. I've can probably attest to that. They had people that didn't live to see them do well. But Detroit, there's a long time coming with this, and so I think they may not be done. We're gonna see how this thing goes and everything, but Bosa will be coming for golf. Yeah, that's for true. That's for sure. That's for sure. And shout out to Dave Canales, man. For those who don't know who Dave Canales is the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who took over for Byron Leftwich, who was dismissed after last year, who came in from Seattle, who was partially responsible for kind of helping Geno Smith to restore. And what I found out today, what coaching is today, more so than what it used to be in the times past. Times past, coaching used to be, look, this is the system I'm running. You get on board with what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. You fit your skill set into my system. What coaches do now is like, what do you do well? What do you like? And I'll tailor make my offense around what you do. And other people weren't able to do that with Geno Smith. And he figured out what Geno Smith did well, turned Geno Smith into almost an MVP candidate last year. And same thing with Baker Mayfield. People had put Baker Mayfield on the scrap heap. Baker Mayfield had a full 1,000-yard passing season, all right, and got his team within an eyelash to get into the NFC Championship game. And he parlayed that into him a head coaching job with the Carolina Panthers. Not sure if I like that job, but hey, man, get your head coaching job when you can get it, man. And maybe he's just what Bryce Young needs, because I've seen him work with these two guys. So we'll see what happens with that. But no shade to Tampa Bay. They played an excellent game and were worthy to be there when in that position. So any parting words for this, and we can move on to the next game.
No, man, I see there. I was aware Ragnow is although he's playing, man, he's heavily hampered.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's hurt today. Tomorrow, sorry. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting for tomorrow. But as far as that game, nah, man, I'm good. You covered it.
Ragnar's rush. Yeah, I didn't know he had 4 injuries. He's got a toe, an ankle, a knee, and a back. Oh, daggum. That's some serious stuff right there. He's scheduled to play, but yeah, their left guard is ruled out, though. Yeah, it's going to be different because the 49ers got one of the best. We'll get to that when we get to our picks. And Crypt Keeper, we feel that we just kind of pick, kind of go over the games from last week since we only got 2 games to pick. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going. So we're actually about done. So we got one more game, and we're pretty much done with the 40 with the John Buccaneers and Lions game. So now we go to the matinee, not the matinee, but the prime time game, if you will, on last Sunday, and that was the Chiefs and the Bills. The only game I lost, in my picks was this game because I felt like this was going to be the first time that I think Josh and Pat have met 3 times in the playoffs. And I think Pat's won every one of them. And I felt like this time Pat would look at his squad and look over there, and Josh had the better squad, especially offensively. I think defensively, Kansas City has, probably one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL that nobody really talks about, only giving up like 17 points a game, which I think is second in the league. And they got a bunch of unheralded guys on defense that really kind of fly under the radar, so to speak, and they just been making plays. And so they come into I think it's called let me be the guess. I'm gonna tell you what it's called. It said Bill Stadium. I think it's called R-Mark Stadium or something like that, but Highmark Stadium. That's what it's called in Orchard Park, New York. So they go in there, and it was sort of like a field goal fest at first. But what I was watching the game, and I saw, and Josh Allen made his plays early, had a couple of rushing touchdowns, made some nice throws, and but I thought that if for them to win, they really needed to have distanced themselves from Kansas City, and they never really could get away and hide from them because every time they would score, Patrick would come down and would answer. Every time they scored, Patrick would come down and answer. It's like which allowed them to keep the pressure on them. Yeah, Josh, your turn. I did mine. Go. Yeah, your serve now. And I think as that kept going, it put more and more pressure on it. And like we talked in the pregame, in the pre-show, I know y'all think we just come online and don't talk this stuff over before we go on. It's sort of like Pat's like, look, man, I do this every year. The pressure's on you. This is what I do. Okay. This man has been in the AFC championship game every year he's been a pro. He doesn't even know what it's like to wake up and not be in the AFC championship game. Doesn't even know what that's like. So it's like, yeah, I'm. This is what I do. You're in my wheelhouse now. This is what I do. This is rarefied air for you, but this is where I live. Okay. Okay. So that's the way. So every time they scored, Patrick would come right back and would score. So it got to a point when, if you ever get the point, I felt as though at any time that the Chiefs would get the lead, I felt like they got them. And that's kind of the way it went. Like I said, Josh Allen had a couple of touchdown runs. I think they exchanged field goals at first. Josh Allen had a 5-yard run. Harrison Butker had a field goal of 10-6. And then Travis Kelce had a 22-yard touchdown from Mahomes. Josh Allen answered with a 2-yard run, made it 17-13. And then Patrick, it's like, okay, I'm going right back to Kelce, because every time he went to Kelce, you're seeing Taylor Swift in the owner's box, in the press box or whatever. Every time he scored, every time he makes a catch, they got a pan up there. I started to get old, but I guess that's what it is. They're gonna squeeze that for every bit of publicity they can. I guess they meaning the NFL. But but in the second half, there was a throw that Josh Allen made, man, that did kind of have my eyes like this wide. It was in the third quarter. and I thought it was an incomplete pass. And there was a little 13-yarder he threw to Shakur in the corner of the end zone. That ball was about like knee high, going about 90 miles an hour to the corner of the end zone. I was like, there's no way he can come up with that. Ain't no way he gonna catch that. That's an incomplete pass. I'm like, damn, he got that ball in there. That just shows you the skill and the talent that Josh Allen has. That was probably one of the best throws I saw all weekend. Shakur caught that in the end zone, put him up 20, put him up 24-20, and which led Mahomes and Andy Reid to say, "Hold my beer," because whereas Patrick Mahomes had a good game, he didn't have a large throwing game in terms of yardage. I think he only threw for like 215. The fourth quarter was an Andy Reid game because they're in a certain coverage, so we're going to run the football. But I'm not going to just line up an I formation. There was a couple of plays where they had the center pulling. You hardly ever see a running play where the center is pulling. Snaps the ball, he comes out and he pulls around and looks for the left end or whatever end to block. And it's that creative kind of play calling that makes Andy Reid Andy Reid. And Pacheco was just eating. He was just eating. He ended up with like 97 yards on like 14 carries. And the Chiefs ended up with 146 yards rushing. That's kind of how they was able to win the game. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes did his thing early. Then Andy Reid went into his bag in the fourth quarter. And then Josh Allen had an opportunity to a couple of opportunities to at least tie the game, if not go ahead. I felt like he had a couple of throws, one to Sherfield along the left sideline that I thought he caught, but replay showed he didn't. Then there was another deep one to Diggs that was right in his hand on like a 35, 40-yard deep one that he didn't come up with. And then on the 3rd and 9 at like the 30, and it looked like there was a couple of dudes that was open underneath that he could have threw it to. They would have gotten the first down, but he went deep to Diggs, who was double covered in the end zone and was incomplete. And they had to settle for the field goal. What's the dude's name? Bass. And according to the previous Buffalo kicker, Scott Norwood, it went wide right. And they was able to hang on to it. Now, to be true enough, Buffalo was lucky to be that close because one of the coaching gaffes that what's the coach's name? What is his name? What is his name? Buffalo's coach.
McDermott, Sean McDermott.
Yeah, McDermott, who used to be coaches with Andy Reid when they was in Philadelphia. I didn't know if y'all knew that or not. They went for a fake punt in their own end of the field, and it's almost like they weren't sure, and it was kind of fortunate for Kansas City because they only had 10 men on the field. But that gave the Kansas City set up shop on on Buffalo's 30-yard line, and they went to work. And if it hadn't been from Nicole Hardeman fumbling out of the end zone and turned that into a touchback, they probably win it by 10 points. Okay, so Sean McDermott had some answering to do because whatever, but they had their chances. But I think mentally, as we talked about on our pre-show, I think Buffalo is in a different place now because they got to come up with something different now because they done been to the precipice like 4 times now and not been able to get over that. So something's got to change now. So what are your impressions on that, TK? I think there's some chats in here too.
Carl Bill. Told you that, man. Carl Bill.
McDermott, yeah. Thanks, I sometimes I forget names. Niner fan. That was stupid. I think there was. I think maybe the coaching staff and maybe the special teams coach maybe weren't on the same page or something. Because a lot of times when those calls are made, they see something on the line that because they'll say, okay, if this guy's not lined up on the outside, then we'll go with the fake. I think something was amiss there that because it didn't go because I think they went with DeMar Hamlin. That's who was trying to make the play, and he's like that big. and no, he didn't make it. So that was because I think that was because that of course it didn't cost him because McCole Hardeman fumbled going into the end zone. That should have been a touchdown, but whatever. But I feel like Buffalo kind of we got to do something different now. But what because I know how TK feels because we talked about that. But I'm gonna let him expound on his position on this.
Well, I picked the Chiefs, and I
And of
just,
course, he let me know he picked the Chiefs. Yeah, he let me know.
yeah, man, I wasn't gonna pick against Pat in that situation. I just think with a guy like Pat, once you get the mental advantage, like he has over that Bills team, um, they were gonna have to beat him. And instead of going out there and beating him and taking the game from him, they
Yeah,
just they were begging at the end. That's what kicking that field goal felt like to me. So
right.
if you're begging, you're not beating that guy, man.
Oh no, oh
That's,
no.
that's Michael Patrick Jordan. So
Right, right. He's becoming that man. It's sort of he's sort of becoming that. Um,
yeah,
it is what it is. And like we discussed in our pre show, even if he makes the field goal, it's 2 minutes left, and 15 got the football. What do you think he's going to do? Okay, even if you make that field goal, what do you think Pat's going to do with a minute and 2 minutes left and timeouts? What do you think he's going to do? Okay, he's going to do what he always does. He's going to come down. He's going to make a throw here. He'll probably, when you're not thinking it, he's going to have a 15, 16-yard run for a first down, and they're going to kick the field goal and win the game, go home, and you're going to be just like you were. Because he only needs 13 seconds, okay, to get in the field goal range. Crip seems to say, I am picking against the Chiefs and I live in Chiefs Kingdom. All right, you might not be able to show your face. You might not be able to show your face, man. But yeah, yeah, they done this thing too many times, man, and they seem to come up just a little short each time. And
yeah. Chiefs Bear done that, man.
so
I agree with you last week that this was the Bill shot, man. They were coming in hot.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
at home.
you get them
They,
at home this time. Yeah,
yeah, and talent wise, granted, I know they suffered a lot of injuries. They were depleted on the defensive side of the ball, but
yeah, yeah. That didn't get talked about enough because
yeah,
that Steelers game. It was man. Every time I looked up, it was a Bills guy going out of the game. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Linebackers, secondary. It was all kind of guys. They had all kind of guys. They had guys that I think they just called up, hadn't played all season, was playing linebacker and stuff. So but this was their
with all
chance
that
to do it.
said, man, all that said, the game is right there for you, and you just gotta take it. Diggs has to catch
Ain't no
that
sense,
ball
man.
in the zone, and you just gotta take it, man. That's the only way you beat that guy. So
Right, that's right.
now it's the Ravens' turn to take
Yeah,
a shot at that.
we getting ready to talk about that because I think that's going to be our first game we're going to talk about. And just like I
Uh,
said last week, what I say, if you're going to take a shot at the Don, you best not miss. Best not miss.
yeah,
And you got him lined up in your sights. You better not miss because if he gets a shot at you, he's not going to miss.
yeah.
All right. So so anyway, so that being said, let's move on to the games for tomorrow. Like I said, play games tomorrow. So the first game we're going to talk about, obviously, the AFC games played first. It's going to be, I think, at 2:00 tomorrow. Um, where am I at here? Here we go. See, I lost my. Yeah, here we go. It's at 2:00. On CBS. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Bank Stadium. I can't remember what I said before, to play the Baltimore Ravens.
MNT
And
Bank, MT Bank,
it's
something like that.
it's something bank. It might be. It's something bank. It ain't what I thought it was. Uh, I had it right here when I was looking up their scoring stuff. M&T Bank is M&T Bank Stadium. M&T. That's what it's called. Um, so yeah, they go into there and they're playing a Baltimore Ravens team that you and I both feel is the best team in the NFL. When you start looking at, if you start dissecting the position groups, you got Lamar Jackson, who's this year's played MVP football, 829 yards rushing, like 3,700 yards passing, 24 touchdowns rushing, like 11 yards, 11 touchdowns rushing, and has the best record in the NFL. So, um, offensive line, one of the best in the league. Ronnie Stanley and some of the other guys. I don't know all the other guys' names, but I do know Ronnie Stanley, one of the best left tackles in the game. Running backs. I mean, they don't have like stars, but they all are efficient. If we're talking about Justice Hill, if we're talking about um, 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 Gus Edwards, and then now they got Dalvin Cook, just for good measure, just to get them a spell. You got a guy that rushed for like almost 1,200 yards last year, who really is fresh. Okay, so they got that going. They got probably the best pair of tight ends, young tight ends. They got a veteran tight end and a young tight end, and Mark Andrews, who's going to play Sunday, and Isaiah Likely, that kid's athletic as heck, man. He's athletic as heck. Because I thought they was going to suffer not having Mark Andrews. I'm like, man, you can't just replace Mark Andrews, man. He's one of the best tight ends in the game, man. I think he's the best tight end in the game because he does everything. I think he does. If he was in an offense where they threw it as much as Kansas City does, I think he could catch it as much as Kelsey does. But they ask him to block here, and he blocks. and so I've always liked Mark Andrews, but now he's back, and you got Likely that can do all the other stuff too. Then on defense, man, you can't you really, there's no weak link nowhere on their defense. Now I don't know if Marlon Humphreys is playing or not. I'm not sure. I have to look on my injury report here.
I think Hump is in, man. I think Hump is in.
They got him as questionable. No, he didn't play this past. So questionable means he's probably playing. Okay, so you got him at the linebacker. Show me a better pair of linebackers rather than him and Roquan and Patrick Queen. All over the place, sideline to sideline, making the fields on running plays. They're all over the place. There's not a weakness anywhere on this team. But they playing this generation's evolution of the GOAT is playing right now. That's still playing. So I'm still scuffling to come up with a pick on this one, because I just don't see how Kansas City could stay with them, because they just got talent at every level of the game, at every level, at every position group. And when you look at Kansas City, you got Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's going to do his thing. Offensive line's pretty good. Basically, running back, all you got is Isaiah Pacheco. What else do you really? I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is okay. I think he had 2 carries for 31 yards last week. Wide receivers. I mean, Rashee Rice is nice, but he's a rookie. Talent-wise, he's as good as anybody in this game. But what he don't know, you can fill up the ocean with. You know, um, Marcus Valdez-Scantling. I mean, he's good, but is he gonna catch it every time he's open? Um, I don't know, man. If the game is close and Patrick Mahomes got the ball last, I think that's probably the only way they can win it. If it's close. Um, But I think Baltimore got enough personnel that they could push that thing to a couple of score lead, man. Baltimore's favored by 4, I think. Yeah, they're favored by 4. Um, it's just hard to pick against Mahomes, man. It just is. It's just hard, man. Because you can't you have to remember how great he is. How the dude never been less than the AFC Championship game. He wakes up in the AFC Championship game. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I beat the second week in a row and picked against Mahomes, and I got my butt kicked last week for picking against him, and I felt stupid for doing it afterwards. After the game was over, I felt stupid. But damn, Baltimore's so good, man. I just can't see how they can beat them. They're just. It's like it's the greatest player against a better team.
That's exactly what it is.
You know, it's like the 2018 finals. You got the best player in LeBron playing against the Warriors.
Yeah.
He's great, but can he overcome all of that? Can he overcome Steph, Clay, and KD and Draymond? You know, I got Baltimore, man, but man, if I'm wrong on this, I'll make this pledge. If I'm wrong, I'll never pick against Patrick Mahomes ever again in my life. Of course, unless he's playing the Cowboys, of course. But I'll
Yeah,
never pick him against him again.
of course. But to your point, or at least to the narration out here, and I'm gonna start with that before making
Okay.
my
All right. All right.
I love this growing Michael Jordan, Patrick Mahomes side by side that I'm seeing more and more people do because for this reason. If Patrick Mahomes theoretically is able to go into the bank in Baltimore and beat the MVP and that dominant defense, and then turn around 2 weeks later and beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl again, except this time with a talent imbalance that is obvious. That's three of them things, man. That's three Super Bowls at what, 27, 28 years old?
Something like that. Yeah.
That's Jordan, man. So I think the next 3 weeks, Patrick Mahomes has an opportunity to cement himself in a way that nobody has, not even the great Tom Brady. And it's no slight to the GOAT. But this guy beat the Ravens. He beat the Ravens and the Niners, man. If anybody had any chance of overcoming the legacy of Tom, it's this dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It's
the,
I,
the, the resume getting kind of crazy. I say that, and it's also about the him getting the opportunity now to be the underdog and to truly show how much of a competitive mental psycho he is for winning. Because that's what it's going to.
right.
I'm at a standstill here, like most people, like yourself, because yeah, he's the best player. That's the best team.
Right.
Which one evens out?
Right.
Uh, and yeah, in the chat, you're right. And I'm usually not this type of guy. I just, time what Tom did, 7 rings. That yeah, that's the
Let me
clean.
let me say this. Let me interject this because let me explain what this when people talk about. Let me make somebody understand this. This is and we this is a discussion point too. Now we all understand Tom Brady is the GOAT, but it's not because it's not a talent thing. It's an accomplishment thing. Okay. Nobody along the journey with Tom Brady ever thought he was the best player in the NFL. You didn't think that. This guy is like, the talent with him is so great, and he's winning. Okay? He's winning. Okay? So that's when we say that. Yeah, he's got a way to go in that regard, but it's an accomplishment thing. But nobody ever thought Tom Brady's like, oh man, he's so talented. No, you ain't never thought that. You're lying to yourself if you said that. Nobody thought that. You know, even when he was, winning Super Bowls, there were always quarterbacks you thought were better than him. Okay, who do you think is better than Patrick Mahomes? Nobody. So yeah, and he's 27. Brady played until when he was what 45? Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that,
Come on,
but
come on, man.
I get it, and I get it. So what Tom did, I'm not that type.
I'm not knocking with Tom, but I'm just saying, look at the talent. Tom was just efficient, and he won things. Okay, accomplishments.
Yeah, and
Nobody,
I'm just saying to say, as far as Tom is on a tier by himself, and Mahomes does have a way to go, but he's the first guy since Tom clearly established his greatness, which happened a while ago. He's the first guy that's come along that's like, wait a minute, we might have somebody on the trajectory to reach that unattainable tier that Tom set for himself. Because it's the resume, and it's the winning, and it's the ring count, but it's also, to your point, Fred, it's like, man, he's not only winning and winning championships, he's the best guy.
It's not even close. He's so much better than, I know we like to say Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. They not this dude, man.
Yeah, he's the best guy.
They not this dude, man. All right. And then we can have that Tom Brady argument too, because Tom Brady went to 6 straight conference championships. Because there was times in that he missed the playoffs, right? When there periods where they got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, you ain't never seen that with Mahomes.
Because before it turns into that, I think before this conversation turns into that, because I think that's gonna become the thing. That's kind of where I was going with my point. Is like, if Mahomes is able to go into the bank tomorrow in Baltimore and beat that team, and then turn around.
Oh yeah, ain't no doubt. Yeah.
And then turn around and go to the Super Bowl and beat that 49ers team. We've now entered that echelon of where, that Jordan MJ stuff, that Jordan Kobe MJ, whatever. It's like Mahomes has officially put his resume, slammed his resume on the table and said, "It's come to Tom Brady. It's time to have a conversation." He now enters that trajectory. So, hey man, I said all of that, and we had a mini debate in there.
But we both don't think he's gonna do it though. Yeah, I ain't falling for the okie doke this time, dude. You sent me last week. I ain't falling for that this week. Oh
yeah, man. I tried to set it up again this week, but yeah, man. If Mahomes was to do that, yeah, we talking about something totally different, But as far as legacy and all of that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that Baltimore team is built for this. I think they're the better team, and playing at home and playing with a guy who, in his own way, he do his thing, and that's what Lamar Jackson is. In his way, he does his thing, and I don't think anybody will put up outside of Baltimore, will put up a big argument as far as who's the better quarterback. But as far as who's gonna win tomorrow, based on all of the factors, roster and momentum and home finish, it's just this is the one that's lined up to me. Whereas I know you were saying this about Buffalo last week, and it's like theoretically I could agree, but this Baltimore team is the team. Like it's all lined up for you. Go get it. And I just
Yeah.
think they're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
go.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're gonna get it. I think they're gonna witness some greatness from 15 on the other side, but I think they're gonna survive it. I think they survive. They survive a heavy-handed punch from a great, and they just they do what they got to do. So if this becomes like a 23-17 Baltimore win, and they're trying to fend off Mahomes in the end, I can see that, you know. But I
Yeah.
also want to put on the table, like I told you before we got on, Baltimore has shown at times, man, throughout the year, including those two teams on the NFC side tomorrow, they'll come in there and blow your doors off, punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to take that off the table tomorrow. I think it would shock me because of, you know, how great Mahomes is, and that defense is definitely, respectable. But then again, that's kind of been the Ravens' thing this year. You expect a good game and a close game, and they come here and blow somebody's doors off. Like, sheesh.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, it could. Like I said, a couple things could go sideways, a turnover, a fumble, or something. The thing could get away, and then they, all the Ravens need is a crack, and this thing
yeah,
could blow, and you go get away from them. Let me address a couple of these things in the chat, and so I want to do this because I really appreciate the interaction with those that have taken time out of their busy schedules to watch, little old me, and of course, TK famous. I'm just I'm the little man. I ain't doing nothing. So to
absolutely.
watch us, pop our gums and act like we know what we're talking about. We really appreciate y'all being in here with us today on a Saturday when I'm sure y'all got other things y'all could be doing. Uh, Cowboy Daddy says he thinks Mahomes is annoying and can't stand him. I mean, dude, what you got against the dude? The dude great. I mean, I'm a Cowboy fan, but I appreciate greatness, man. And things that he does. I'm like, dang, he's just. I don't know. Is it his voice? I mean, his voice is kind of annoying. Like, he do kind of have that, you know, frog in his throat kind of voice,
I
kind of.
always looked at it like that's another form of flattery, man, because Mahomes is a Dallas boy, right? He should like
He's
isn't
from Texas. Yeah, he's from
he,
Texas. Yes.
he's a Texas boy, man. So
Yeah.
he should have that 1-5 on in Dallas, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So I mean, yeah, now there are some people I've encountered that don't like. I was like, no, I don't like. I said, I think he's. I said, wait. I said, what you don't like about him? He's a good team dude. He wins, plays hard, loves his teammates. What you don't like? Good family man. What you don't like? What's not to like? You know, good with the media. Got a likable face. I mean, what's not to like?
well,
You know.
you qualified to speak to that in the sense that you know I know the way he's perceived now may not tell the story, but for people who lived it, Jordan wasn't necessarily loved when he was doing what he was doing. You
Well,
know, there's a lot
of
of people
course.
that didn't like it. Plenty of people that loved it. There's a lot of people that didn't like it. It's just
Well, we didn't have social media then.
yeah, yeah,
There it is, right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So social media makes cowards of everybody, man. No, I better not do that. Better not do that because it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on X or Instagram tomorrow or TikTok tomorrow. So yeah, yeah. No, I better stay in the house.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. So yeah. Let's see here. Who won 8 straight? Brady didn't win no 8 straight. He won 8 straight conference championships. Because I know the Steelers went to 3 in that period, and they never played them in any of the three that they went. So I know he didn't go. Because I know Baltimore got a couple in there. Because I know they went to the Super Bowl in 12. The Steelers went in 8, 10, and 8 and 5.
And
So he
Peyton,
wasn't. He didn't go.
Peyton,
Broncos went in 15.
yeah,
So
Peyton broke through twice, didn't he? 'Cause he broke
yeah.
through at Colt and a Bronco.
So no, he didn't go to no 6 straight because there was other teams that got in there. And now I know that one time that the Broncos went, they beat Mahomes, they beat Brady in 2015. But the Steelers never beat them because they've never beaten them in the playoffs. You know, so all 3 times they went, I think they beat the Jets once, the Ravens once, and I think they beat the Ravens twice and the Jets once. The 3 times they went in 5, 8, and 10, and that sort of thing. And so, but yeah, but from 14 to 18, yeah, he went every year from 14 because they beat in 14 they beat Jacksonville, I think. 15 they lost to Denver. 16 they beat no maybe 16 they beat the Broncos. I mean the Jaguars. 17 they beat the Steelers, I think, and then in 18 they beat. Man, I forget who they beat, but I know they was in like 4, but 6 is that's astonishing. That's astonishing to me to go to 6 straight. That's astonishing to me. Um, so and the reason I'm trying to okay. Okay. All right. Okay, they sent us a message about this Benny T thing here. So it's Benny Albert. Yeah. I'm not addressing that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's see here. A couple of youngsters. All those insurance commercials. Yeah. Insurance commercials, Subway commercials. Shoot, he's doing other stuff too. He in all kind of stuff, man. And he should be. He should be. Because it's one thing, I'm gonna talk about my team now. It's one thing to be in a bunch of commercials because of accomplishments, because you got Super Bowls, you got championships. This dude has 13 playoff wins against 3 losses. Okay, he should be in commercials versus my quarterback, which like I ain't got no problem with Dak Prescott, but he's only on those commercials because of who he plays for and anticipation. It's one thing to have those kind of things because of your accomplishments. And so, yeah, he probably should be in some more commercials because he's won it. He's won many times, and he's recognized as the best player in the game. Um, so, yeah.
Yeah, I just think, he's making great points, man. Mahomes has a lot more to do, and you should
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
going up against a resume like Tom's, man. You got a lot of work to do. So it's just that he's the only guy to me on the board right now that's even on the trajectory, that's even close. So, you know, shout out to Mahomes, man. But I went Ravens like you, and I usually never could pick against Pat in these spots, man. But I just think that Ravens team got something special going on right now. So I'm gonna I'm gonna rock with the Ravens.
Going with the Ravens. I'm going there too, but we're doing it under advisement. Now, let me put a little caveat in here. Now, I'm an older guy, so really, I don't like to give the youngsters credit for doing stuff what people have done like over the course of their career, and then you just come here the other day and like, no, you got to do this for the long haul. So So in that case, I'm with Tom. I'm like, yeah, you got to do this a little while longer, young buck. I done went through a couple of generations of this. Being great. So I'm just saying he's off to a great start, and that's all I'm saying. And then he's never had the weight of like being the best player in the NFL. That's something that's a hard mantle to have to carry. You're basically the face of the NFL. You know, um, there's a lot to go with that, man. There's a lot to go with that. That's why I was like, yeah, he's carrying that pretty well. Yeah, that's something too, Crip. That's actually a good point because Brady had an advantage because when he got Bill Belichick, he was 51. Okay, remember he coached there 24 years. He's 72 now. So that means he was what 48? If my math serves me right, isn't 48 and 24 72? So yeah, Andy Reid's like 65 years old. So yeah, he's not gonna have as long a runway with that coach. And I think a lot of people don't want to give Bill any credit for look, man, Tom had to have structure, man. The structure helps. The environment and that all kind of they kind of all fit together. It all fits together because Bill wasn't letting a lot of things slide. Well, a lot of coaches would let stuff slide. Bill wasn't letting that stuff slide, and so in a lot of stuff when he was at Tampa, Arians was letting that stuff slide. That's why they was butting heads. The culture wasn't the same. So that and just like Mahomes, he benefits from having a play caller like Reed that's like he never met a play he didn't like or he was scared to run. You know, So it helps, and yeah, if Andy Reid decides to hang it up in a couple of years, yeah, that's gonna kind of, you know, depends on who he ends up getting. All right. Let's get to the second game, man. But it's good dialogue, man. Like I say, I enjoyed the dialogue because, like I said, I appreciate you guys, you know, having these opinions and being able to share them with us. That's cool, man. I really like this, man. This is. Man, you guys don't know. Y'all making my day, man, doing this, man. Having this back and forth, you know. Um, Anywho, second game. We both got Baltimore. Second game, we got the Detroit Lions traveling to Levi Stadium to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to tell you just like this. The 49ers are an elite team just like the Baltimore Ravens are. But unless you live in Northern California, I get the feeling everybody's pulling against them. I feel like everybody pulling against San Francisco. You know,
I agree.
in this particular instance, because I know you were saying San Francisco is the easy team to root for because creative play caller, they got exciting players.
Well, I say because for some reason, and
know,
I'm pretty sure it's culturally, based, but I've just seen all week, whether it's on the internet or in passing out and about in the world, just for some reason everybody wants to see the Ravens and Lions, man. So I was like, okay,
That's true. That's true, Crib Keeper. You're right about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I'm just agreeing with you, man. Ravens Lions seems to be like the popular pick for whatever reason. Um,
I was saying you were correct about that statement. I think Bill had one winning season at Cleveland. For the most part, he wasn't a winner until he found Tom. Sometimes you got to find that right golden goose. But you can also say Reed never won a Super Bowl until he found Mahomes. He was in playoff games and went to a Super Bowl, but you got to have the things have to mesh. The right guy, right situation. Y'all see things the same way. But sometimes you can be good, the coach can be good, player can be good, but y'all just don't see stuff the same way. And it don't quite work that well. That's why that dynamic, that like they always say, that head coach, quarterback, if that thing is right, man, they see things the same way. They see the field the same way. That thing's special, man. That's special when it's like that. Um, when they're when them two are like in lock and step like that. It's not just about them just both being good at what they do. They see things the same way. And I think, Tom and, for the most part, Bill saw things the same way when it came to winning, you know. And I think Andy and Pat see things the same way. And I think that's helping, usher this winning tradition and culture that they've got going on or whatever and stuff. So go ahead, TK. I mean, cut you off there. Go ahead.
Yeah, gotcha. All good. Yeah, so Northern California and the state of Iowa will definitely be rooting for the Niners, and so will I. Despite the fact I really
Iowa,
love Detroit's talent,
and
love
Iowa State.
love everything they building up in there. So it's great to see them in this spot. But Ravens Niners just feels destined this year. Oh, I don't want to disrespect Detroit and speak of them as if they're just a means to an end tomorrow. I could see them with the skill position talent they have being able to score points and put points on the board and make a fight out of it
Yeah.
for San Francisco. And I kind of feel that could happen. But just like the Ravens, these Niners, top to bottom, just so well put together. It's like you could easily see them running away with this one.
Yeah.
They have that capability. So, for the sake of my own fandom of just liking to see good games, man, I don't want to put that type of energy in the air. So, hope I see two really good games. Hope we, all of us, get to watch two really good games tomorrow. And yeah, I that's where I'm at. Ravens Niners. So I know that's pretty standard, as far as what most people have this week. But
Well, we already know it's going to be Ravens Niners, man. The logo already said so.
there it is.
Right?
Yeah,
Super Bowl logo already said so.
yeah. I know that's
You know
out
what?
there. Yeah.
I'm just saying what I heard somebody else. I've not even seen it, so I don't know. I don't even know. I just heard people
I,
talking
I
about it.
saw it. I know what you referenced, and I did see it. It's
I
always
haven't
something.
seen it though. So
I think to the point of I won't get on a tangent about it. I just
go
think
ahead, man. We talk. We just talking. Go ahead, man.
no, it's just I think in preparation of promoting things, you put so much stuff out, but then when you may have done several different things to create logos, images, all these things to promote and just project what'll happen. And then it's like when it happens a certain way, it's like, oh wait. And they're able to pull and reference something, that would insinuate the outcomes have already been decided and stuff. So I
Yeah.
just think that's interesting. But especially, in this case, man, Ravens and Niners just it feels so destined. I guess it would be
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
get ahead of the curve on promotions and stuff.
Um. And so here's a couple of here's like a little sidebar in here, man. So this sort of like has a Harbaugh feel to it because okay, if it's Niners and Ravens, it was the same two teams when the Harbaughs played before, correct?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
If it's Ravens and Lions, isn't that the same place where his brother just came from?
yeah.
You know, and Detroit, the Michigan will have won the college in or be in the championship in both pro
Oh,
and college or whatever. So
oh,
it's a license.
that,
No,
that, no, I'm just saying, yeah. When I think about it that way, man,
yeah,
Detroit
it's
get
a lot of
yeah,
things in there, man.
just the state.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with
but to get back to that thing, oh yeah, he says this has been Detroit's most successful year in my lifetime. They were pretty good in '91 with Barry. I know you old. I'm not trying to tell your age, Crip Keeper. I know we done talked about this. You're a little older than I am, so I know you done seen that. They had some good years then, but their team wasn't as good top to bottom as they are right now. They're good top to bottom now. Then it was just Barry and a bunch of dudes that knew how to block for him, and that's all they had. It just had Barry left, Barry right, bury up the middle, and he somehow get you 175 yards and 3 touchdowns, and and you win the game. But this team is like good top to bottom. I mean, like I said before, good quarterback, good offensive line, good defensive line. The only thing I think they may be a little slack in is their secondary. Their secondary, I would that might be an area they might need to upgrade going forward. But they got good linebackers, good young linebackers. Jack Campbell's coming along. He's a rookie. And Aiden Hutchinson is, that's TJ Watt 2.2. You know, so yeah. So they really, they really are doing things, well, a lot better than they've done it in time. And like I said, I'm gonna pick the Niners, but I'm gonna be rooting for Detroit. If that makes any sense. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he did retire too soon. That just lets you know what kind of organization the Lions were in times past, because they kind of had heavy-handed owners too. Like we know about, don't we, Crook Keeper? We know about heavy-handed owners. They had heavy-handed owners back in the day that was involved in too much, was doing too much and whatever. And some point they wised up and hired people and let people do their jobs, hoping certain people are listening. And they find themselves in the NFC Championship game. Okay. And this certain other team are in the same place that they were before. But I'm just saying, digressing. Yeah, he played on. Dan Campbell also played for the Cowboys too. I don't know if you knew that. He was on the team that Bill Parcells coached. So it's like 06 to 05. He coached from 06, 03 to 06. So he was on those teams. He was on one of those teams. So and I'm gonna echo TK. We're probably gonna close down unless we get some more chat and conversation stuff here. Yeah, I think the 49ers are just they're a complete team. I think people get enamored with their offense and don't really talk as much about the defense. I just think they got studs all up and down their defensive line. I mean, if the league expanded their Pro Bowl roster to say, okay, you can put 15 players on each conference or whatever, 20 players in, the 49ers, all 4 defensive linemen will be Pro Bowlers. All 4 of them.
I do want to say this though.
Okay, go ahead, man.
We it's more profile than production. Same meaning, I agree that front 4, that front 7 is elite, but you got to show us. You got to show us, because they didn't show us last week.
Oh no.
You got to show us this week.
Aaron Jones ran down their throat.
Yeah. So it's just, in terms of how Detroit has to come into the game, it's like, well, they showed us last week they can be had. We know they're elite in profile and talent, but they can be had. So
reputation.
I would
it's
like
a reputation thing. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I would like to see them be as dominant as we know they can be. I would like to actually see it tomorrow. Because if not, then Detroit will definitely find success and definitely be able to put some points on the board and make it real interesting. So they have
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go ahead, finish. I was gonna address my man in the chat here.
Yeah.
Crypt Keeper, man. Look, man, you never boring us, man. We love the engagement. I was saying a couple times. Cowboy fans always have to cheer for somebody. Yeah, especially if it's past the second round. I can't. Otherwise, I just have to turn the TV off past the second round, and we ain't getting past that. So no, man, no, you good, man. It's just sometimes it be too many of them in there. I can't get to all of the different comments and stuff, and then I'm in the middle of a point, and I'm older, man. Sometimes I don't remember what I was just about to say. So, but I'm scrolling back. Oh, you said Jared Goff has made you some money? You betting on some of these prop bets and things? See, he says Barry retired too soon. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Way too soon. So did Megatron. It just tells you what kind of organization we was working with. Ravens are taking the Lombardi Trophy this year. What more needs to be said? Probably nothing, because if they play, them two teams play, that's probably which way I'm leaning. Because we saw that game about a month ago, and you know, and that speaks to something that uh, TK said. All the teams in the NFC that called themselves like the elite teams, whether it was at the time Detroit or Seattle or whatever, or San Francisco or whatever, uh, they got handled by Baltimore. They got handled. I don't think none of them games was close. I mean, it's almost like they went in there and they established themselves immediately. And it was like, he belonged in the same field with them. They totally demolished the 49ers in a way I've never seen them get demolished before. Okay? That game was not close. It wasn't. It was not close. So, you know, so if those two teams meet up, yeah, I'm probably leaning purple. Because I've yet to see, that I know they lost some games. They lost to Pittsburgh twice, but those games are, whatever. Lost to the Indianapolis Colts early, and they lost to Cleveland. Those are the 4 games they lost. Okay, they were in every one of those games. They was in every one of those games. Okay, so I just think until somebody, they're just top. They're just so complete top to bottom. In order for somebody to beat them, I think they have to make some mistakes. A fumble, maybe a fumble on a couple of kickoffs. Some goofy stuff has to happen. That's just me, from what I've seen. You know, so in over their heads in that game. 49ers in over their heads. Yeah. I think Baltimore went into that game thinking like these mugs think because at the time nobody thought about the 49ers were favored. Okay, and so Baltimore went into that game like, oh, they think they better than on a different class than us. Let's show these. Whatever. I'm not saying that online here, but let's show these what it's all about, and that's what they did. They punched them right in the mouth, and it got ugly quick. And we'll see. At least you beat a crippled Bucks team and Brady's last year. Well, we did. Uh, win either way. I have a lot of rookie cards. Okay. What else you got for me, TK? What else you got, man?
That's it, man. We got our picks in.
Got a little analysis in.
Next thing here is the Super Bowl. So we right at the finish line of this thing, this campaign. So, yeah. Let's have 2 good ones.
Kind of hate for it to be over, man, but it's this thing winding up, man. Winding up real quick. Um, I've been saying this ever since like week 3. I said, man, these games going by so quick. Seasons going by like you driving the stuff. The scenery just flashing by you. That's how the season goes by, man. And in a couple after Sunday, we got one more game, and then of course now, TK and I are big NBA fans too, so we still gonna come on maybe from time to time and do some NBA talk for those that want to talk NBA, because we love NBA too. There's some interesting thing going on in the NBA and other sports too. So we talk, we know that stuff too. So we had some interesting things happen this week in the NBA. Some 70-point games, some 60-point games. and you know, some interesting things. Uh, so yeah, man. Uh, Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Once again, enjoy the engagement. Crypt Keeper. Every time I come on, Crypt Keeper comes on, man, and I appreciate you, man. Apparently, you know when I come on, he has to come talk with me, man, and I appreciate that. 49er fan, Danny the Cowboy fan, and a couple other guys that come on every time I come on. Cowboy Nation Danny. Yeah, that's his name. And there's a couple other guys that come on every time I come on, man. And long time Niner fan. That's it. I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all just kind of, make it worthwhile to do this, man. So anyway, man, that's all we got for this week, man. We'll be back on next week, next Saturday. Of course, well, maybe not, because I think the Super Bowl's 2 weeks, right? In the 2 weeks, only got an extra week off. Are they still doing that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back. Whatever time it is, we'll be back and we'll discuss the championship games, and then we'll make our Super Bowl picks, and then that'll be probably our last show as it relates to football for the year. So then we'll move off into some other things. So again, thank you everybody for joining in with us today. It's been a pleasure. We'll catch you guys on the next video. God bless, and we'll catch you guys next week, man. Y'all take care. Peace out.